Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and I have an endless TBR. Today I just wanted to pop in really quickly and let you know some of the definite books that I'll be reading in the month of April. For more details on what I'm actually reading during the month, since I don't tend to do regular monthly wrap-ups, you can check out the link to my Goodreads, which is down below. And I try to write reviews for every book that I read, even if it's only like a sentence of my reflections of my reading experience, if that makes sense. So during the month, I know that I'm going to get to the books that I have to read for my book clubs. And I have a couple of them this month that I plan to attend. And so I'll just go in order of when the discussions will occur. First up, next Friday, from the time that I'm filming this in any case, is going to be eCity Bookshop's Wine and Angst Book Club. This takes place via Zoom, so I'm very lucky that I can attend from a totally different state than the bookstore that hosts this particular discussion. This month we are reading You Truly Assumed by Layla Sabrine. This features three Black Muslim girls after a terrorist attack rocks the country and anti-Islamic sentiment stirs. This features an online blog that one of our prospective characters' sisters develops and says, oh yeah, it's totally private. Sure, anything on the web is totally private if you choose to do that. So the two other girls find the blog. There are some comments that are made. I have started this book and looking forward to the discussion for sure. It hurt me a little bit to recognize that our main characters in this novel were born in like the 2005 range. So there are references to September 11th, 2001. But none of our characters were alive. And again, it takes place in like diverse geographic regions. So one of the girls is in California, another is in Georgia, and the other lives in Virginia, but has a lot of, right on the border of Washington, D.C. So there are, political discussions that are occurring and, heavy ramifications from this domestic terrorist attack that occurs at the start of this novel. So again, I'm really looking forward to the discussion. I will do my best to get through it by the end of the week, and we shall see. The next book is another one that I've started. This is for the book club discussion that I co-facilitate at the library that I work at. We're reading How Beautiful We Were by Mbolo Mbue. This is actually a reread for me. We tend to pick a specific genre, and we've selected this for environmental fiction to kind of coincide with Earth Day later this month. This features the collective voice of the youngest generation of a community that lives in a fictional town in Africa that is being destroyed by American oil riggers. It's a story that's not new, but the way that Mbue expresses the characters' developments is what brings humanity to this specific topic. A lot of the time you see these environmental disasters and, it doesn't necessarily affect you on an everyday basis, aside from maybe the price of oil has increased. So your gas prices have gone up and how irritating that is. But this novel illustrates that it ruins lives. It poisons water and land, destroys communities, and there's no recourse for some of these communities. It's really hard to read. It's very bleak, but it does shed light on a community that may very well be ignored in many instances. So again, it's a fictional story, but it's also a very real story. I definitely did not get all of the elements that I should have in my first reading. And again, I'm a little bit of the way, little bit through this book already based on timing of the when I'm filming this and when the discussion is. So hopefully we get some folks to come to this discussion, and that we can talk a little bit more about it. Later in the month is a book club that a friend of mine is hosting, and they had previously read another book by this author, so we're actually having the author come to discuss their work and have the opportunity to ask questions. We're going to be reading This Tender Land by William Kent Kruger. I don't know anything about this book, so I'm going to open it up and let you know what we're working with. In the summer of 1932, on the banks of Minnesota's Gilead River, the Lincoln Indian Training School is a pitiless place where Native American children forcibly separated from their parents are sent to be educated. It is also home to Odie O'Banion, a lively orphan boy whose exploits constantly earn him the superintendent's wrath. Odie and his brother Albert are the only white faces among the hundreds of Native children at the school. All right, so this is going to be a heavy tale, looking at the Native boarding schools that occurred in the United States. From what I understand, Ordinary Grace was a big buzzy title of his that people recognized for his research. Let's see. William Kent Kruger does not appear to be of Native descent, though that doesn't mean anything. It looks like he lives in St. Paul, Minnesota, so there are, thriving Native communities in that area, and hopefully he's come from a good place and has some good representation of this really horrible event in U.S. history. And if anybody has questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure to ask the author when I'm at the discussion. Finally is a book that I've highlighted before, and I mentioned that this was sort of a multi-month discussion. I haven't got quite as far into it as I had wished to by this point, but I am in the midst of reading High Conflict: Why We Get Trapped and How We Get Out by Amanda Ripley. Amanda Ripley is a journalist and looks at the dichotomy between, my viewpoint and your viewpoint, and how I'm right and you're wrong, and the divide that causes when we get into a situation of high conflict. I've only read the introduction, so I don't have too many thoughts on this so far. This is an online discussion board book club for the alumni group from my university, and yes, I'm still looking forward to this. Just haven't gotten as far as I would have liked by this point. Are you reading anything along with me this month? Is there anything that you're really looking forward to? If you've made it this far in the video, leave me any sort of flower emoji, because the April showers are certain to bring May flowers. Spring has sprung, and I'm certainly looking forward to nicer and warmer weather. If you've not yet hit that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it if you did so. Give this video a like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!